Hey, welcome to the RAMZPAUL show. I'll have to remember how to do this. I haven't streamed in so long. It is so good to be back. Thank you all very much. I, I did a lot of changes. I was doing my daily videos and everything, the top 5 news items. And then I had my eye surgery and I got temporarily derailed. But it's great to be back. So I thought, I haven't streamed in a long time. And I'm like, do I even remember how to stream? Because it's a lot different than doing videos. Doing the videos, you just kind of put together, edit, put them up. But I always like streaming. So I'll determine what my schedule will be. I look at this as a practice stream. It's a practice one. So if it doesn't go well, yeah, it's just because I'm getting new, right? I'm back into the saddle. And thank you guys for all your concern and stuff. I am fine. A couple of things I will just go briefly about why I've been missing for a few days. I had eye surgery on both eyes, actually. 2 types of eye surgery. The first one is very common, and it's a cataract surgery. If you live long enough, you will get cataracts. And what they do is they just replace your lens on your eye with a new lens, one that works even better. And it's been awesome. I got the one, I think it's called Lens SX. It's all like computer generated, the tool. And it's weird because I have these glasses on for short distance, but long distance now, I see 20/20. And I've never seen long distance like forever in my life. I can't ever remember a time I could see long distance well. Even as a young kid, I had glasses. I think 3rd or 4th grade, I got glasses. And so now I drive without glasses on. Now, I still have to wear glasses for more up close things, like if I look at my phone or reading a book. And a computer is just a little bit close. So I wear these really mild reading glasses. So unfortunately, the way my eye was, I couldn't get the real fancy lenses. I guess I have really fancy lenses where you can see far and close, but my eye, because it's like too long, I'm long. All of my body parts are long. are just stretched out. I'm 6'4" and long fingers, everything. So my eyes are long, and they couldn't really put that type of lens in my eye, which is okay. But it's really weird because now I go to bed, and years ago I used to wear contacts. And now when I go to bed, I'm like, oh shit, I got to take my contacts out. I'm like, wait a minute, I don't wear contacts. I'm just seeing perfect naturally anyway. So it is really cool. I really do like it. So the cataract surgery, that went really well. And I had some other surgery at the same time though, and that was a little rougher. I had, they put stents in my eyes for glaucoma. And glaucoma is a disease. They think it's could be hereditary. My grandfather had it. And what it is the pressure in your eye can build up. Your eye's mostly fluid. And if you get too much pressure in your eye, it will damage your optic nerve. And eventually it could destroy your optic nerve and make you go blind. People used to go blind with glaucoma because it progresses. And they don't really have a cure for it, but now they able to manage it pretty well. And what it is the duct in your eye that's supposed to drain the liquid. It gets clogged up or something. And years ago, they had eye drops you had to take every day. And I've done that a little bit, but not much. Then they had laser surgery to kind of clear out the eye ducts. And that would work for about 5 years. I've had that done twice. But now they have something that's more of a permanent solution. They actually put little stents in your eyes that drain the liquid naturally. I mean, it's artificial stent, but it's supposed to do what my tube isn't doing. And so it just drains the liquid and it keeps my eye pressure low. So that they put those in. And at the same time, same surgery when I was doing the cataract. But whereas the cataract surgery is a really non-invasive surgery, meaning it's just at your lens, there's no blood. Whereas the cataract surgery, they actually got a poke in your eye. And I know it sounds gross, but they kind of drug you. And it's a weird drug because you're awake during the procedure, but you're like a zombie. And then after the procedure, you don't remember it. You get short-term amnesia. It's really weird. I kind of have vague memories of it. It's just like a weird dream you have. So I had that, and I had to be careful with that because one of my eyes has years ago, who knows how, I had a partially torn retina, and it's 90% healed on its own. I had to go to specialists, so they have to be careful with my eyes. Anyway, when they put these stents in, a lot of times it creates bleeding. And it's sort of like, think of your eye as a fishbowl and you put like dye in a fishbowl, it gets all murky to see. That's what happened. So my eye became full of blood. And when I got out of surgery, I could literally just make out maybe light and dark, but I couldn't make out any objects. It's really scary because you think, oh my God, did I lose my vision? But eventually the blood reabsorbs in your body after a few days. You start to see blurry objects, and then gets better and better. And finally, it's all cleared up. So that's basically what happened. And I had a little bit more bleeding than normal. And part of the recovery is you're not really supposed to do anything, pick up anything heavy, anything like that, right? And it's tough because I got the dog. It's like, I think it's a part pit bull, and it's hard not to do anything. And I shouldn't have even been streaming. And part of the problem when I tried to stream, because my eyes were still messed up, the lights, the camera lights here were bothering my eyes. And then I'd get a lot of headaches, and it was hard for me to read. So I just had to shut it down for a couple days over the weekend. And I said, I'm not going to stream or do anything. I'm just going to heal my eyes. In fact, one day I spent like the majority of it just in bed. I just hanged out in bed and did some reading, but I just kept really still. And it really made a difference. So the good news is I think I'm pretty well fixed. The problem there, I go in tomorrow and I get my eyes checked, but I think I should have a good outcome. So that is where I was. Just letting you know what is happening. And it's a public service. You should always go to the eye doctor and have your eyes checked for your pressure, like I did for glaucoma, because I didn't feel any pain or anything. A lot of times people have glaucoma and they don't know it. And while they technically can't cure glaucoma, and they don't like the word cure, but they have treatments that basically mitigate it. So it's no big deal. So, and hopefully these stents will forever be in. So I will never have to get eye drops. I won't have to have any more surgeries. And as long as I live, my pressure will be fine. So I encourage people, even if you think you have good vision, just check that out, because you could get it and you don't want to wait too long until it damages your optic nerve. So that's my PSA. The more you know. All right, we'll get into the show. And today's show is just going to be a little different. I'm just going to go over some topics. I'm still deciding how I want to do my live stream versus my daily videos. I like my daily videos. So I'm going to keep going with those. It's almost, in some ways, they're different audience. I mean, there's a lot of overlap. A lot of you watch the daily videos and the streams, but there's a lot of people that watch my daily videos. They just never watch streams. It's just not their thing. And I can understand that. Some people, they stream for hours, and people just don't have the time to listen to that, and they prefer to watch videos. And a lot of people they just like streams. So I'll try to do both. I just don't want it to be an overlap, though, where my streams are basically just what I do in my videos. So we will see that. And I know a lot of people ask for co-host. I may do that again in the future. I guess I was really bummed when Z-Man died, because we had such good synergy that I just couldn't replace him right away. It's not like a sadness or anything, although I was sad he died, but it's like, oh geez, so I decided to do it on my own for a while, but I may get a co-host again. I don't know how you could replace Z-Man, but so we will see. But that's kind of my life right now. We're in September. We're done with the summer. Well, technically still summer, but out of the real hot part of the year. So that's good. And a lot of other stuff still going on. And it's just been a crazy time. And I had to get an MRI done, and it turned out fine. I didn't have anything bad. But this has just been a lot of stuff going on the last month, it seems like. But I'm happy to be back with you, and I really do appreciate all your support. And I already got a power chat here from Anonymous. Welcome back. Hope you're feeling better. Yeah, my eyes are just doing great. And again, I probably will always be using these glasses when I stream, just to help me my vision to the computer. But long distance vision, I can see perfect. And if you're new to this, I stream both on Rumble and YouTube and X. So I appreciate that, and wherever you're from. And if you want to contribute to the show, that's how I kind of gauge if people like this sort of thing. I have Powerchats, YouTube has SuperChats, and Rumble has Rants. And I have the Stream Element thingy, a tip feature, and it's pretty cool with that. So you could give it that way too. And it's kind of cool because I guess there's no tax on tips, and that includes like this. So if you send me a tip or like super chat, that's a tip. I don't have to pay tax on it. So that's pretty cool. All right. I guess that was some of my intro stuff. And also, if you have a question, just let me know. Just send a super chat or something. We'll go over that. Makes a show a little bit better. And let me just see here. Let me just take a look at the news here. Okay. Yeah, we had this item here. This was Donald Trump was talking about the horrific murder, I believe.
Who are truly, there are evil people. We're all people of religion, but there are evil people, and we have to confront that. I just give my love and hope to the family of the young woman who was stabbed this morning or last night in Charlotte by a madman, a lunatic. Just got up and started. It's right on the tape. Not really watchable because it's so horrible, but just viciously stabbed. She's just sitting there. So they're evil people. We have to be able to handle that. If we don't handle that, we don't have a country.
Yeah, I think Trump's right. The first reason for the government, that's why we have a government, the primary reason is to outsource our protection. Because when you're on your own, you just protect yourself, but communities formed and they're like, hey, let's maybe we, because like old people, they can't protect themselves. So let's just all put in a little money and hire someone to be like the sheriff. And that's how the criminal justice system got started. So it's like really the number one purpose of the government is to protect the citizens. And there's been a lot of vicious crime that has happened. The incident I'm referring to happened on August 22nd. It was a 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee, Irina Zaruska, a very pretty girl, looked like to me. But she was fatally stabbed on Charlotte's Blue Line train by D. Carlos Brown Jr. And this guy was a piece of shit. I don't think he should be alive now. And I don't. This guy should have been killed long ago. He's not a guy like this is the first time he's had issues. He has been involved with 14 prior violent arrests. And the blood of this poor girl is on the hands of a lot of these prosecutors and judges that allow these savages to run free. And luckily, because on X, Elon Musk has picked this up and he's outraged by this. And really, there's a lot of things to be upset about. We're never going to be in utopia on Earth. I understand that. And even if you had an all-white society, you will occasionally have a weirdo or a criminal or a bad person that kind of slips through everything you have. An example I'm thinking of is like Ted Bundy, right? That guy seemed perfectly normal, had a good childhood. He didn't have like a long arrest record, and it turned out he was like a serial killer. That happens, but it's extremely, extremely rare, right? And he was executed and he should have been executed, but those sort of things are rare. So we're always going to have this. But the problem is this isn't done equally, meaning certain populations and certain demographics commit much more violent crimes than others. And in America, and most of the world actually, is the Black population commits way more violent crimes than white people do, Jewish people, Asian people, even more than Hispanic. That's just a fact. And you can debate about the facts, why that is, but the facts are the facts. And they try to hide the facts, the society, because they think it's will promote racism if you tell the truth about this. And so this is why I joked, but it's not really much of a joke because it's something they could do. I joked that if they had this incident on Netflix, a drama about this horrific crime, they would have probably the Ukrainian refugee be a black lesbian and the criminal would be some white MAGA guy. I'm not really joking. That actually happened in Britain when they were doing a public service announcement about men hassling women on their subway, and they showed some white, like ginger kid harassing women of color. Like that happens, right? So the media, they always do an inversion of the truth, which is Satanism, because that's what Satan is an inversion of God. And a lot of these people, they reject Christ and they're, I think, satanic, really. So they put a satanic opposite message that it's somehow white people that are hassling poor minorities, the KKK, MAGA, whatever. That was like and it's so much a myth that they have to create these hoaxes because it really almost never happens. I'm not saying never happens, but it's basically zero. The crime rate of that happening is almost, it just doesn't really happen. But when it does happen, if a white should kill a black, it's just massive coverage. And as someone said, I hate to do this, could you imagine if, but yeah, could you imagine if a young black woman was sitting peacefully reading her phone and some white guy stabbed her to death for no reason, just for the hell of it, in the neck? It would be international news. We would not be hearing the end of it. White people would say, they'd be telling us we need to do better to fight racism. It's crazy. But when it comes to race, as this guy did the statistics, the likelihood of a newspaper mentioning a murderer's race depends on the murderer's race. White offender's race was roughly mentioned 1 out of every 4 articles. So if you're a white person and you kill someone, 1 out of every 4 articles are going to mention your race. And it's about 1 in 17 if it's a black and 1 in 33. So there's a definitely bias not to share the race if the race is non-white. And this isn't by accident. This has been something that's deliberate. And there's some reasons for why this was happening. And let me show you this here. Let me show you this Netflix. I don't know if you guys saw that. Hang on here. This is you can laugh about it, but this is propaganda that really messes up our people and we shouldn't allow. But here it is right here. So here it is.
What? What?
Nothing.
So this is Britain. Some creepy white guy just messing with some poor woman of color that's just trying to mind her own business.
I can stand there.
Yes.
I can stand there if I like. Just take a photograph of me.
So this is in their alternate world that the left has, is you have people of color that just exist peacefully, and you have white people hassling everyone else and creating a scene. And again, this is so weird because in reality, it's an inversion. If you have someone creating an issue in a public place, it's almost a black guy. It's either doing a funky dance to rap, or he's dancing obnoxiously, or he's hassling people. It's almost never a white guy. But this is the propaganda that they got to put out.
Did you just photograph me? Well, that's assault. Photographing me without my permission, it's assault. Do you understand that? Give it here. Your phone, give it to me. Give me your phone. Hi, Bright. I'm deleting it. deleting your assaults. Do you understand? Yeah. See, you invaded my personal space.
Well, you get the idea. I'm not going to show the whole thing. So they have this ridiculous scenario that probably never has happened in the history of trains. And they have it as a white guy that's causing the problem. And this is important for them because of the narrative, because the narrative that the cultural Marxists have made over my entire lifetime is that evil people are inherently white. And if so, this is how it is. So if you're white, you're inherently evil. And white people are always oppressing black people. And if something should happen, if a black commits a crime, there's always an excuse for it. It's because of poverty or because of racism or any stuff like that. That's always what they try to imply there. So that's it. Hey, I got a super chat. Thank you. +10 to the Rams strategic ammunition stockpile. Remember that AR-15 is the best gun to have, according to Grok. Well, thank you. I do not have an AR-15. +10 for the Rams Lamborghini fund. All right. I'm going to be close to getting a Lamborghini. Actually, I don't think I'd even get a Lamborghini if I could. In this parts, I'd probably just like a good pickup truck is what I would get. Probably drive Sasha crazy. She's not a big truck fan, but I like them. Necro Dancer, rate God's wrath 1 to 3. Most wrath versus most lenient. The flood to kill the fallen angels, Sodom and Gomorrah to kill the gays, and Velociraptor to kill the lizard people. Yeah, the flood. I don't know. Yeah, was that the fallen angels? I know it's Noah and the whole world is sin, and Sodom and Gomorrah was a lot of the degeneracy. But thank you for that. I put them all like at a 1. All the ones are pretty powerful. So thank you for that. I do appreciate that. Getting back to the whole thing though. So what they're trying to do, so they set that narrative and they run these shows, TV shows or commercials, and they're really demoralizing to our people. And a lot of people that aren't very bright, especially if they're not exposed to diversity, let's say they live in an all-white area, they start to internalize this and they believe that this is reality. And they don't understand, no, it's an inversion of reality. But this isn't done by accident. This was done intentionally in order to harm our people. Now, the good thing about it is I think people are starting to push back on this and to say, no, this is not how it is. And here's this another example. So these aren't like one-offs. Here's another one. Just another murder the national media has ignored because it doesn't fit the narrative. And this is Logan, 22-year-old college student. She was killed by this guy. This guy, you know, is huge, you know, constantly been arrested. Vicious murder. And this is how the reality is. So the crime in America, especially interracial, is black on white. Now, it is true. I saw some black guy. Well, but blacks killed a lot of blacks too. I'm like, okay, yeah. Well, is that supposed to be like a good point? Like, well, we killed a lot of our own people too. I'm like, is that supposed to make me feel better? We shouldn't have to be around you. We shouldn't have to be around you. And this has nothing to do with skin color. I don't think anyone really cares about skin color. I just can't imagine. So let's just have this imaginary world that doesn't exist. But let's say everyone with black skin just acted like Japanese, right? Real polite, really nice. They did that. Do you think people would still want to get away from people with black skin if they acted like Japanese? Because, oh, well, these guys are great. They're wonderful. They're helpful. They're polite. Oh, but they have black skin. They have black skin. So, yeah, hell with that. I know I'm going to be racist, just irrational, just because I don't like their skin color. No, it's because that skin color is associated with violence. That's the problem. And no, I'm not saying everyone with black skin color commits violence, but I am saying the likelihood of someone being violent increases if you're Black. That's just the statistics. And it's so much for show because the liberals like to say, oh, well, that's because of poverty, but it isn't. Wealthy Blacks are more likely to engage in violent crimes than the poorest of whites in West Virginia. That's a fact. So it's not correlated to poverty at all. It strictly correlates to demographics. That's how it is. And this is what people have a problem with. They don't want to be exposed to that. They don't want a society where their daughter could be just sitting on a bus minding her business and some Black guy decides to stab her randomly to death. People don't want to live like that. And again, it's not because he has Black skin, it's because of the action he does. But what was interesting about this, and let me see if I can bring this up, is how the media actively hides these type of crimes. And again, they can't as much. And now with X, like Elon Musk has been really good about this. But and here's some example of how Elon's been on the warpath about this. But it is important. This is important. So George Floyd, the guy that himself was a criminal, he had tried to threaten to murder some pregnant woman, tried to stab her. He was a known drug dealer. He was passing counterfeit money, and then he got put down by the cop, and I think he died of an overdose, fentanyl overdose. But he got choked to death by a cop. Oh, tragedy! Remember the Minnesota mayor, crying at the coffin and just blubbering and everything. Trayvon Martin, Mr. Skittles, and everything. That New York Times, they mentioned George Floyd 5,897 times. But Irina, this woman that just got butchered by this Black guy, got no mention, 0 mention. And as Elon Musk says, yes, the New York Times is an utter lie. And this is one of the ways the media lies, is not by commission always, but omission. They just will ignore the story. And this is why it can really skew the perspective of people. Like I hear all the time, if you're upset about these Blacks doing this, how about whites? All the school shooters or mass shooters are white. I'm like, no, if you look at the statistics, most of the mass shooters are not white. But see, you wouldn't know that because of how the media spins everything. And I think people in Europe previously, now they're getting red pilled because of immigration, but they lived in their all white societies in Sweden, and they would lecture us how evil racist we are and how ignorant we are about race. It's amazing. They're lecturing us about race and how we're ignorant when we deal with it, especially people in the South every day. They've never dealt with it, but they're saying we're ignorant and everyone's exactly the same. And if anyone acts different, it's just because of racism or white supremacy. That's the reason. And they just have this view that it's just warped based on what they see in the movies and TV. Because again, if they have a show where just like we saw that train thing, right? Some white guy, little skinny white kid is terrorizing the train. Yeah, like that would happen. That's not the situation. But when you talk to people in real life, Sasha I talked to, who's hassled you on bus trips or pulled their penis out, and Black guys, or who hassled you in France? Black guys. I talked to other people I've known in Europe that have traveled. Same thing, especially women. So, but they have this whole idea that is primarily white guys that do this. It is a real inversion. And no, I'm not saying every Black guy does it. And I'm not saying every white guy is pure. There's a lot of disgusting white guys. I get it, right? And there's a lot of good Black people. But the issue is it's not the same proportion. It's just the way skewed. And it's we shouldn't have to live like that. This is what you shouldn't have to do with it. Let's see here. And I'll have some more data about this. And again, Elon Musk covered this. You want something that should make you very uncomfortable. White people are victims of Black violence at insanely disproportionate rates. It's not even close. And I would say it's even more than the official statistics. Between 2017 2021, black on white violent crime is 2.38 million. White on black crime is 0.37. And it's even worse than that, because a lot of this so-called white on black crime, I guarantee you they're not really whites or Hispanics or something like that. Guarantee you. Because if you look at the police reports, they call Mexicans white. And so that's really what that is. But even so, even if you say that the right, it's just grossly overdone. Annualized victims rates per 1,000, whites per black 2.4, blacks by whites 1.8, and so on and so on. And this is the official data. And here's this guy right before he's about to stab this girl to death in the neck for no reason. She's just sitting there. And it's crazy that people don't understand these statistics. They really think of it's inverted, right? They really think it's like how people think of the South. It's just bizarre. I remember I had one guy come down when I was first in Arkansas. I think he was a federal informant. I've had a couple of those. They always amuse me, but because I could, kind of spot them right away. And he's like, yeah, I came down here because I want to get contacts for RAMZPAUL. Can you get me in contact with the Klan? I'm like, what? What are you talking about? No, it doesn't exist. What do you, I mean, it functionally, it's not a trademark thing. I remember there's a British comedian, a black guy. They wanted to track down the Klan, supposedly in Harrison, Arkansas. The most racist city in America. It's not. It's just a nice little town. But they went there trying to find the Klan, and they couldn't find anyone. Then finally, one old guy's like, "Oh, I'm the leader of the Klan. Can I be on TV?" And that's literally all it was. So it's just ridiculous. I mean, yeah, it used to exist years ago, but it doesn't exist. But in their fantasy, this still exists. And in their fantasy, like in the South, you have all these poor black children trying to go to school, and these EV KKK people are trying to hassle these black kids. I'm like, well, number one, KKK doesn't exist. Number two, white people don't hassle black people. It's the other way around. And number three, it's like, yeah, right. The kids really want to go to school. I mean, come on. You're just living in a fantasy land there. But they keep pushing this lie, and it's really horrendous. Hey, Rojas, it's good to see you. I know I've been away, Rojas. And by the way, I'm going to try to catch up on a lot of my mail. I was kind of feeling bad the last couple of days, really. So I'm behind on I got some text messages and some forth. I've been kind of slow getting back, and I apologize for that. I don't like to be that way. But part of when I was getting better, I know I'm like this old person explaining all my maladies now. But when I had the surgery and all the blood and then you get these incredible headaches because your brain's trying to adapt it and your sight's messed up, but whatever. Rojas, Ramsey, key point on what the dissident right know. People on the left even believe in rehab. All right, let me take a look at this here. All right. So this is Philosophy Cat. How does one rehabilitate low impulse control combined with a savage delight in wanton violence? There's no amount of education, time, or money or love that's going to fix that. No. The only thing that fixes that is you either put these people in prison or execute them. And that's really what fixes it. And that's why years ago, these people were dealt with really quick. And this is so cruel. Not really. There's a reason they were dealt with quick, because you can't have these people running around public. It's horrific. And you can't fix these people. There's some hardcore percentage of the population. I've always said this. And if you talk to people that work in the criminal justice system, they'll tell you this too, right? So most black people are fine. They're good people. Most of everyone is. However, the higher percent, most of the violent criminals are black. So while most of the black people aren't violent, most violent people statistically are black. And so if you put them in prison, you're going to have a higher black population. That's why we do. It's not because of white supremacy or bias or anything like that. It's because more violent crimes. And because of George Floyd, they decided to release all these people. And these people on day one, when they're released, I mean, day one, they're going to be going out and committing crimes again. Day one, they can never be released. So either got to keep them in prison forever, or I prefer just put them in the graveyard. That's quicker and you're done with it. I don't see why we should have to feed, clothe, and tolerate people that are so gone that they're just going to do violent crime after violent crime after violent crime. And I'm not really a hard ass. I'm really not. I'm one of those type of people that I think if you mess up, it depends what it is. I'm okay with people getting second chances, is what I'm saying. Call me a bleeding heart, but yeah, say, your kid that steals a car. I don't think that should be held against you your whole life. I'm not advocating stealing cars, but so I'm not like, oh, you do anything, just kill you. No, I'm not like that. But you shouldn't have someone that has been charged and arrested 14 times for violent crimes walking the streets. They should be in the graveyard. They shouldn't be even in the prison. Why do we keep them alive? What value do they give us? They just cause problems everywhere. They cost a lot of money. You're not going to rehabilitate them. You just got to put them down. It's like a dog that's rabid. That you can't fix it. What are you doing here? What are we doing here? And I don't feel sad for them. I feel sad for the innocent victims. And no one wants to live around these people. You don't want to live around these people. Blacks don't, whites don't. No one wants to live around criminal. Do you really want to live around a guy that just randomly may pull out a knife while you're reading your book and stab you in the neck because she do the juke and the jiving? No, he can just juke and jive to the gallows, and that's fine. I'd have no tears, and that puts him out of his memory, his misery, and puts him out of our misery. I don't want to be around these people. And so, again, I'm not saying everyone, no second chances, but people that do crime after crime after crime after crime, that shouldn't happen. This guy should have never been on the streets to kill the woman. He shouldn't have been. He should have been executed long ago, quickly. And that's the best rehab, by the way. I haven't looked at the stats, but the people that you string up and execute when they do these crimes, I think the stats of them recommitting other crimes are pretty low. I don't know the exact numbers, but they're pretty damn low. I think you pretty much cure it. So old Jerome here, we have a cure for him and his behavior. And that's pretty effective cure. And so that's what we need to do. And I don't feel sorry for these people. I don't care about their backgrounds. I don't care about their childhood. I don't give a fuck. I just want them in the graveyard. And that's where they belong. And I think a lot of people feel that, and they're not a big fan of like therapy or anything like that. I have some therapy that you can do. That's for sure. That'll fix them real quick. That's the type of therapy that we should do for these people. And there was something else here. This one guy wrote, and anyone that's ever taught in the public schools can tell you this. So let me see if I can find this. And this was, I had a good friend. He's still a friend. He's a college professor. I'm not going to dox him. Really brilliant guy. But before he was a professor, he taught at an inner city high school. And boy, the stories he could tell was, there's just some of these people, there's just, there's nothing you can really do about it. They're always going to cause a problem. And that is the case in that situation. But I can't find the story, but it's interesting because he was just talking about they coddle these kids that are criminals in school. They keep saying, oh, they're really smart. They just have to get on track, even though they're pretty damn stupid. And that if you try to discipline them, you're accused of being racist because, oh, here it is right here. I want you to go over this because I think this is important to see. This guy used to be in the public school system, and anyone that's been in the public school system around kids, besides the propaganda, believe me, I knew public school teachers, liberals, and they would agree with this, right? Because this is just, if you're in it, you see it. I was a public school teacher in the hood for 11 years, and I know this type of kid, meaning the guy that murdered that woman who previously done 14 other violent crimes he was arrested for, which means he probably did more than that. We just didn't catch him for the others. This is a type that would smack the kid sitting in front of him, telling the teacher, I don't give a fuck when corrected, and ruin an entire year worth of learning for the entire class. His special education teachers would describe him as actually very smart with lots of potential, despite him failing every class and scoring a 9 on the ACT. They always do that, right? They always get these violent thugs that I don't think have an IQ of a chimpanzee. And I mean that literally. Oh, he's actually very smart. You're like, well, he sure hides it. You sure hides that well, that's for sure. You know, he can barely put a sentence together. That's his life, right? There would be countless meetings with him, with his mom. Yeah, never a dad. And the social worker, psychologist, and principal would speak in soft voices and nod and smile when the kid told him he wants to be a doctor. I'll be an astronaut. Yeah, right. All right. They give him all sorts of ridiculous accommodations that give him ample room to behave however he wanted, and terrorizes teachers and peers with minimal consequences. So what happens if you're like a little bastard in school that terrorizes the other students, right? You're a criminal. Years ago, you'd expel these kids or put them in juvie. That's where they belong. But oh, no. Now they have a disability. They have a disability. We have to make accommodations for it. So they try to kiss these ass of these little savages. And that just makes the savages more savage because they don't care. The teachers would spend the entire class trying to rein in his behavior. And when they call security, remove him. We never even had security when I was in school. We had like the vice principal. They'd have to evacuate the entire class first. He'd rarely receive any consequences. The principal would reprimand the teachers for not building a relationship with him and accuse them of singling him out because he was Black. As a result, they'd give up and his behavior would escalate. And we see this all the time. They're like, oh, look at us racist, because if you look at the school kids, Black kids are more likely to be expelled. I'm just like, yeah, just like they're more likely to be arrested. Because why? Not because of racism, because they do more bad behavior. That's why. Oh, you can't say that, though. It must be because these teachers are racist. And it's hilarious because if you ever know teachers, they're almost like all 99% Democrats. I mean, they are, and they're all shit libs, but even they see it. If he was really bad, they'd get him a timeout in a special room where he'd just sit on the phone and tell the supervisor to shut the fuck up if they said anything. Maybe he'd have to partake in a peace circle if he became violent. Eventually, he'll get socially promoted to his senior year, and the teachers will do everything they can to get him passed. And this is a dirty little secret. So you could have little Tyrone, little Hellion, hitting people, not literally doing anything, not passing any tests, but they'll say, oh, well, for social, he's got the social education. We'll give him a graduation. He walked down the graduation stage. They always like to do this. You remember, like, who was that one guy when they, whenever like Trayvon or whatever, they just have the little savage in the diploma outfit. Like he can't even read. Oh, I'd be smart. And I'm like, no, they just passed you along. And and everyone would cheer, and he'd probably do something embarrassing like give the finger to the audience. As a young adult, he'll walk the city behaving exactly how he did in school because he's been socialized to learn there are zero consequences for his behavior. Depending on the city, he'd probably get the similar treatment from the cops and the public, afraid of creating a public scene that would lead to riots in their city. One day he would snap and do something like this. And this is the guy that killed this poor girl here just for the hell of it. And only then everyone would act surprised that this wasn't largely in part due to our public schools negatively socializing in the behavior of animals that should be locked up or institutionalized as teenagers. Yeah, it's not all the public schools' fault because they can only do so much. Again, the real bad ones, they should be in the graveyard. They shouldn't be with us. I don't care their age. I just don't anymore. I care about the innocent people, and if you can't function as society, and again, I'm okay with people giving people second chances, even third chances, But if you're constantly a vicious animal that can't control himself, then you shouldn't be living among us. Sorry, your genetic mistake, evolutionary dead end. We don't do that. We don't do this with like baboons or chimpanzees. We don't let them run around us because they can turn violent. We either put them in the zoo or keep them elsewhere. They're dangerous. And the same with a lot of these people. They shouldn't be walking around among us. It's just dumb, really. Let's see here. Rowhouse again, $2. Matt Walsh has stood out as the most based and red-pilled in Tucker's absent on Fox News. Okay, let's see what. Yeah, I do like Matt Walsh. I do like Tucker Carlson too. There's a lot of good commentators. It's funny. I often said that, and I'm not saying Matt Walsh or even Tucker, but a lot of these type of people. I'm not saying him because I don't even know if Matt Walsh knows me. Probably does. But a lot of these people, they would have nothing to do with me years ago. And now they're sounding like RAMZPAUL. It's just really great. The race baiters on the left push a false narrative about white supremacist system that victimizes innocent Black people. The people like myself who you denounce as race baiters on the right are making factual observations about crime statistics. The difference is that one side is saying something false and the other is saying something true. You see the truth as irrelevant to the issue entirely because you are spiritually a leftist. You actually agree with the left-wing race baiters, but you lack their courage or integrity to admit it. Yeah, there's absolutely no reason to exploit the victim for racial tension. Yeah, this is a trick that the left has done all the time. So if a white guy should kill a Black guy, it's always racially motivated. White people are expected to atone for their evil. There's probably riots and everything else. But so race is always the issue. But because that's so rare. But when it's the other way around, oh, no, we can't look at race. We can't look at race. How is it relevant? Well, it seems pretty damn relevant when you have it. So for example, if the rates were the same proportionally, violent crimes. So I would agree if violent crimes were proportionally the same among Blacks and whites and Asians and everyone, then yeah, it's just okay. Sometimes a white guy does this, sometimes a Black guy does this, sometimes you have an Asian guy to do this, right? That's how it would be. But it's not that way. And they know that. And even like the city of San Francisco, they used to have the cameras in their subways that would post photos of people that would mug people on the subway, as a crime watchers thing. But they had to stop it because all the criminals were Black. They were all Black. And they're like, oh, this will give a racist stereotype. I'm like, how's it a stereotype if it's true? It's the truth. And so, see, the left hates the truth because they have this imaginary system that everyone's exactly the same. Everyone's the same. There's no human differences except for superficial differences like skin color. That's why they're always obsessed with that. I'm like, well, no, race is a lot more than skin color. In fact, the skin color is the most irrelevant part of it. There's differences, just like there's differences in dog breeds. I like dogs. All dogs are dogs, right? But they're different breeds. And they have, because of the breeds, a different behavior. Pit bulls, they have a certain attitude about them. Benji, the dog, he's mostly lab. He's got a lot of lab characteristics. He likes to retrieve things. They've been bred a certain way, and that's just the way it is. And so it's, but they can't believe that. They have to believe humans are different than any other every other animal. But it's not the case, right? We assume that even like bears, black bears are different than polar bears, which are different than brown bears. They have different behaviors. And everyone accepts it. But when it comes to human, oh, no. All behaviors with all the races, they're all exactly the same, equal. Like, it says who? They're not. If you just look, you can tell it isn't. It's not like a one-off. And so that is the fundamental problem. And then, so they think if they just try to hide it, it will change reality. But it doesn't change reality. And remember what I say about the left? Fundamentally, they just want to believe in something that's not true. And they think if they repeat it enough, it will come to be. Sort of like the whole trans thing. Like, if we can make everyone say a guy in a dress is a woman, it will make him a woman. And because some people say he isn't, that's what ruins it. It's a real magical thinking. And when the reality doesn't care. You see it in other things too, like the Ukrainian war, right? Remember, they were just all magical thinking that Russia was out of weapons. They're having to fight with shovels and just all sorts of nonsense. Well, you see reality now. Russia's winning. It was all a lie, but they thought they could just speak this into existence. And it wasn't even just pure wartime propaganda in the sense that they knew the truth, but they wanted to boost the morale of the stupid civilian population. I get that, right? But this is, I think, deeper. They actually believe their bullshit. And so I think these people actually believe the bullshit that Russia was a weak country. It's bizarre, but I think they really believe that. And these people, they actually believe their bullshit, that there are no significant racial differences, even though they can see it. But no. If we see the differences, we got to hide it. We got to hide it. And not only racial difference, sexual differences. No, men and women are exactly the same. And the only reason, I guess, all the NFL players are all men, it must be sexism. Yeah, that's it. It's sexism. What else could it be? And they believe it. It's just really strange. But they go, but if we just show it different, then it will change reality. So if we show the girl boss, she's 110 pounds and she can kick ass any man that's 250 pounds. Just kick ass. And if we show that in the movies, then it will come to be true. But it doesn't. It's all fake. And they do that in the movies with the race thing. It's like, well, we'll make all the black guys to be the smart engineers who are really sober-minded. Like, okay, yeah, all right. I'm seeing a lot of these astronauts on the subway doing their funky dance. Yeah, right. I mean, from a continent in sub-Saharan Africa, they never invented the wheel or written language. All of a sudden, oh, no, they're brilliant, actually. Like, oh, really? Just like that kid in the public school. Yeah, little Jerome that's been stabbing all these kids and yelling F you to all these kids and acting like a wild savage. He's actually I bet he's really quite smart. I'm like, yeah, right. Yeah, right. Sure. But they want to believe it. So they just have this stupid narrative. And it's crazy, but that's the way it is. Let's see here. Let's see. A Necro Dancer 9. As a self-appointed doctor and holy man, I recommend you drink moonshine to cure your eyes. 19th Amendment, then prohibition. If women hate it, it must be good and healthy and natural. You're right. Necro Dancer 009, he is right. He is right. That is how the prohibition came in, because when women got the right to vote, there was a huge push. The first thing women went after was to ban liquor. Like, these lips don't kiss those who touch liquor or something like that. And they started their busybody selves, even back then, just like we saw them in COVID, the busybody Karens. They had them back then, the 19th century, the early 20th century, the prohibitionists. They were busybodies. They were running around, worried people were having fun drinking. And first thing they did was try to ban men to be able to drink. So you had prohibition. And moonshine, it's interesting. Maybe I'll dox too much, but I live in the county that was the moonshining place down here. I mean, down this area back in the 20s, it was moonshine central in these hills. They had a whole thing going on here, moonshine. So I don't drink moonshine. To be honest, I'm not a big drinker anymore. I will occasionally have like a margarita or sometimes if it's hot, I get some of those little, what was it, Jack Daniels, but not the whiskey, but those little like drinks for the summer, like peach drinks or something, because they're refreshing. But I don't drink a lot anymore, just because as you get older, at least for me, I don't like the feeling of being hungover. So if I do drink, it's like maybe one or two. Sometimes my good friend Dave, he had us over, and his wife, and we had a great time. And Dave doesn't drink, but his wife, she'll have a glass of wine with me, and I love that, But I don't drink that much really, and I want to drink moonshine. I want to know how good it is here. Necro Dancer 9. I'm gonna be a plebeian cosmonaut warrior poet on Mars. I'm gonna love some alien bites. They like my songs and dancing. Mars, yeah, that'd be neat if there were some aliens on Mars, but sadly there probably isn't. But thank you for all those super chats. Necro Dance, I think I know who you are, Necro. You have that sense of humor I recognize, but thank you for your support. That means a lot. But getting back to Rowhouse, yeah, Matt Walsh has been pretty good. He's been really good. So, if you're going to solve a problem, you have to be willing to have the integrity to look at the reality of the situation, not what you want to be, not your fantasy version. And again, I kind of compare it to a lot of things that the left has, but even like the Ukrainian war, we need to look at reality that Russia has more men, they have more manufacturing ability and so forth. And so, yeah, what are we going to do? But people don't want to do that. Oh, you're a Putin bot. So they just get in, and it's pretty crazy here. This shoe on head, and I don't know much about her. I follow her though. She sometimes has some pretty good takes. None of the good lefty policies will ever work alongside the bad. Social democracy simply cannot exist in a low trust society. Exactly, that's true. Like, TF, do you mean free public transportation and soften crime? You are naive. You are a fool. And you are, Allah forgive me, a silly goose. And she's right in that you can't, if you're going to have, you can't have like a really kind of liberal, feel good society where everyone just loves each other and there's not many rules and you work on the honor system. You can if you have honorable people. I think I told you I went to this town in Kansas years ago. People that watched my show, they invited me. They were kind of had a club there. And they had this cafe in the morning that you just picked out your own pastries and coffee. And there was just a wicker bowl that you put in, like the coffee was $1, a pastry maybe $2. So if you took a pastry and a cup of coffee, you throw in $3. And that was just normal. Everyone did that. So you had this whole wicker bowl full of money people throw in as they took their stuff. It was the honor system. That would never work in a certain area like Memphis or with a certain demographics. It would never work because the first person there would just steal stuff and never put anything in. But if someone did put something in the wicker bowl, they would steal it right away. And they would have no idea why they shouldn't. It just confound them. They wouldn't understand that. So if you're going to have, you can, like they did in the Nordic experiment before they had unlimited immigration. Yeah, you can have a lot of good social policies and so forth without a heavy police presence, and it will work. But you can't do that with certain demographic. If you have a certain demographic like you have in South Chicago or Washington, D.C., you need a strong police presence or military presence. Got to keep your foot on their throats. That's the only way to control the population because they have no sense of honor. They have no sense of decency. The only thing they understand is force and fear. So you got to say, you get out of line, you go down. That's how it is. They understand that. But that's all they understand. And they can't act like other people because they won't. That's not how they are. So 100% that was a great point by that. So thank you very much on that. And K-Max, Rams, do whites see this Ukrainian girls as one of our own people? I would hope so. I do. Our own kin. White's biggest problem is our individualism. Look at other groups. I don't know. I think the Ukrainians are beautiful people, by the way. I know a lot of people think, oh, you're pro-Russia and the war and all that. I'm for us to staying out of the war. We shouldn't have even been part of the war with Russia. And when you look at the causes of it, it's not as just simple that Putin's trying to take over the world and all that. The Donbass region, the people there did vote to be part of Russia. I don't want to get into the whole debate, but it's not as like, oh, I hate Ukrainians or anything. I don't. and I think they're beautiful people and really gorgeous. They kind of remind me a little bit when I went to Estonia. Some of the most pretty girls I've ever seen. They're almost all blonde naturally up there. It's really beautiful people. Ukrainians are beautiful people too. So, yeah, definitely. Of course I see them as white. I don't even think of it that otherwise not. So that was it. So thank you for that here. Need to see here. It's good to be back on Rumble too. All right. And what else is going on? So I kind of got on that because that was like the big stuff here. Oh yeah, the other thing, the French government looks like it's collapsed. It's not as dramatic because when we hear the government collapse, we think of Mad Max, and that's not what they mean in Europe when they say a government collapses. They just mean, it's a parliamentary system. And what happened in France, they are having huge problems with their budget. And it's really weird because Macron, instead of worrying about the internal turmoil in France, he's just obsessed about Russia. It's very similar to Starmer in UK, which is in big trouble internally too. They don't give a shit about their own countries. They just worry about Russia. Can we defeat Russia so we can have LGBTQ pride parades in Moscow? That's all they're about, especially Macron. So it's really bizarre, but these countries are in problem, which is strange because they've had massive third world immigration. And I was told third world immigrants, they enrich a country. What the hell? But anyway, the prime minister is looking to resign in France. Just so you understand, the prime minister role in France is different than the president, which is Macron. It's a little complicated kind of to our system, but like the president deals with like foreign policy, the overall stuff, and the prime minister deals with more internal budgetary things, I think. And he's probably going to lose a vote of confidence because they couldn't pass the proposed budget. And the budget, they want to freeze social benefits and all this type of stuff. And they're going to have mass protests in the country by Wednesday. I think they always protest in France, right? Has there ever been a day that they haven't protested in France? I can't think of one. Since my whole life, even since I was a young kid, French, you always think of them protesting and them setting cars on fire in the suburbs. They like to do that for some reason. Car insurance must be hell in France. That's what they do. But what they want in France is they want a lot of free shit. Everyone wants free shit, but no one wants to pay for it. And they're running into problems now because they're becoming broke. France is in big trouble economically. So everyone wants their free shit, and they want more free shit, but no one wants to pay for it. So they got a little issue here. So they're all going to protest. So I guess good luck with that. I don't know how you're going to fix that. And meanwhile, part of the problem is France, they brought in all these low IQ immigrants and they get on welfare, and they haven't really helped the country as we were told. They enrich us. They help us prepare for a global economy. Yeah, right. Necronancer, pro tip. Nautical air horns are loud. Sounds can be weaponized. Yeah, they can. And recommend you purchase all these tools as a great addition to your combat kit. So sad the hot lady got killed by demonic golem. Yeah, it was really sad she got killed. And yeah, air horns, they actually can be a good deterrent. Loud noises scare people. And so, yeah, if you're trying to be mugged and you hit a loud air horn, it will probably frighten them off. So that actually can be a good deterrent. So, yeah, thank you for that. That is really good. Thank you for that. And let's see here. So that's France. And Britain's not far behind. They're having financial problems too. And it's the same issues, right? This is what's so interesting is the West is really crumbling. Now, Trump is trying the best he can to fix America. And I'm not saying Trump's perfect, but he's trying. But the rest of the West, and the West's formula for the past 20, 30 years is, oh, you know how we're going to be prosperous? I tell you how we're going to be prosperous. We're going to send all our manufacturing and all our jobs overseas and have it go to India and China. That's what we're going to do. And then we're going to import a bunch of people from Africa and Muslims. That's what we're going to do. And that's going to make us dynamic and powerful. And who could have guessed? That isn't working. That hasn't worked. That hasn't made him prosperous. And that's France has done that model. That's Germany that has done that model. They're in financial problem. That's UK has done that model. And it's just really sad. And there's Canada, right? Canada, they're trying to replace their people with Indians and Chinese. That hasn't made them prosperous. It's actually made it worse. So, yeah, that is pretty crazy. But obviously that globalist model of having unlimited welfare with unlimited immigration is not a good combination, right? You don't want open borders, but open borders with unlimited welfare, that's probably not a good idea. And that's how it is like a Britain. Oh, come on in, bring your spears and machetes. We'll give you a free house. That's not the way to prosperity. I'm just saying, but they're finding that out the hard way. Of course, if you object to that in Britain, hey, mate, and they'll put you in jail. They'll put you in jail. Yeah, because they put everyone in Britain for jail for anything. They're just they're like this bizarre police state now. Even North Korea is telling Starmer, hey, dude, you might want to cool it a bit. Why should you cool it a bit, man? Cool it with the totalitarianism. You're making us totalitarians look bad. So, yeah, if you're going to have North Korea telling you might want to let up a little bit, that should be a thing here. And let me just show you that. Here we go. Here it is here. Here's a man arrested.
So I've been sat around there all this time, yet you decide to come and talk to me when I'm leaving.
Okay. Well, if you're going back to me, you're under arrest for Section 4A public order offence.
Just give us your camera.
I'll explain the circumstances.
Listen, all I'm going to say is, do you guys really want to do this?
Yes, we do.
Right,
Yeah.
you're arresting me for what offence?
Section 4A public order.
Public order for what? Second
Listen,
pictures?
Listen, when I call you to caution.
Hang on a minute. Are you body cam one? Are you recording? Right, can you identify yourself, please, all of you?
PCU 692.
Yeah.
1823.
870.
Sergeant,
1823.
1823.
Yeah. Put your hands to your back then.
Right, do that.
Is this really necessary?
At the minute, we don't know if you're carrying anything that might harm us. We don't know anything about you.
Oh, that's a fair.
Can't see your face, so just out of precaution.
All right, let me just,
So we
let
don't
me
end
just
up.
speak. That's a fair comment. I'll let you have that.
All right, yeah.
But I don't have anything what's going to harm you.
Everybody says that to us, don't they?
And I'm actually just going to go in lobby because it's a beautiful lobby.
Yeah.
I'm going to get some, because I ain't got any stills. I'm
My
going to
colleague's
take
going
some
to tell you
stills and then
the
I'll go in.
circumstances for why you've been arrested.
Am I being arrested
So
or
the
being
allegation-
detained?
Been arrested, I would say the caution.
Arrested?
Yeah.
Well, what have I done wrong?
Are you with the caution?
Section 4A public order.
Do you know the caution again, or are you?
Well, what have I done? Tell me what I've done.
There's been a member of the public who you've apparently been shouting at calling him a muppet.
He called someone a Muppet.
Right, I'm up it, yeah, and
You caused him alarm and distress.
She's very upset.
right.
about it.
Well, I'm gonna be straight with you guys now.
Don't
Right.
forget you're under caution.
You're under caution.
I can feel you shaking. I can feel
Under
shaking.
caution, mate.
Calm
Not
down.
shaking, mate.
Calm down. You are shaking.
Right, you've got your
I'm gonna-
rights.
I'm gonna
Don't
tell
talk
you
about
now.
it.
I'm gonna-
Should we go into the office?
Yeah.
Calling somebody a
Before you
muppet.
go ahead,
So he calls someone a Muppet. Oh, you're not going to call someone a Muppet. You're going to prison. He's a white guy. So, I mean, if it's a black guy, you want to get in the prison for calling someone a Muppet. But if you're a white guy, who'd you call a Muppet? Is that even a bad thing to call someone a Muppet? I thought people like Muppets. Aren't Muppets cute? Isn't that Jim Henson and the Muppets? What's wrong with the Muppets? I don't see anything wrong with the Muppet. Good grief. I didn't even know that. Is that something you guys in the UK do? I'm not over there. Is that like an insult? You call someone a Muppet? I never heard of that. I mean, we use stronger insults than that. Someone called me a Muppet. I'm like, cool. Am I Bert or Ernie or who am I? Kermit? I don't know. So maybe Miss Piggy? I don't really understand that. But that's Britain. They're arresting people because they called it a Muppet. So yeah, Britain's and it's a sad situation and it's a sad time there. So that is true. All right, let's see here. All right. All right, let's see if I got everything. All right, I think I'm going to probably wrap it up. It was fun. It was fun being back. I love these live streams. I'm going to keep doing these again. And guys, again, thank you guys all for a couple of things. Well, number one, thank you all. Understanding I took some days off, and a lot of people reached out and everything. And I was not feeling good for a lot of reasons, but thank you for that. I feel really great now. I think I'm fine. Have my eye appointment tomorrow, so I should be back on schedule. And my Substack people, if you haven't subscribed, I felt bad last week. I didn't do a roundtable. I didn't do a video because I was out of it. I'll be able to do it this week. In fact, tomorrow we'll have our roundtable. I'm looking forward to doing that again. So thank you for that. And so what's that? Thanking you. And I thought I wanted to do one other thing, but I forget what it is. But it's good to be back here. It's a lot of fun. And I appreciate all your support and love. I really do. So I'll talk to you guys later.